Yes, yes. What's going on, guys? My name is Eddie Transcendent, and I'm super excited to be sitting here with Bernadine and Tiffany from where am I again?
Junior
From
Achievement
Junior
at
Achievement.
Bridgeport,
All right,
Brooklyn.
and so I'm really excited because I'm excited to bring this interview to you because for a long time I didn't really know what Junior Achievement did, where you guys were located, what was going on, and so for me, when I found out about that you guys were here in downtown Bridgeport and the things that you guys are doing, um, for me, my first thought was, well, if I didn't know, and I'm very involved in the community, if I didn't know, then there's probably a lot of people who have no idea that you guys are here in Bridgeport and downtown, kind of around the corner of everything that happens in downtown, right? And so, in today's interview, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about a junior achievement, what it is that you do, how long you've been here, kind of some history, and also some kind of viewing of where we're going, right? And also talk a little bit about what the community can do to help in your efforts. I think that from the conversations we had right before this interview and in the past, I love what you guys are doing, and I think that more people need to know and understand what it is that's happening. And I hope that this interview could serve as that kind of that the the avenue to get people to understand it and to hopefully get more involved. So, Bernadine, I'll start with you. Perhaps you can just share a little bit about who you are and how long you've been involved with Junior Achievement.
Sure. Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah.
My name is Bernadine Venditto. As Eddie said, I've been the president of Junior Achievement for, been here almost 18 years.
18. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a long time. And interestingly, the way you started and said, you didn't know what JA really did,
Yes.
what I would say is most people, it's what we say is the best kept secret.
Okay.
And so what we've been doing, it's part Junior Achievement has been here locally in the Bridgeport community for over 70 years. We're a part of a national organization and actually worldwide.
Okay.
And our history is like 100 years. What's never changed is the mission that we have, which is really about youth empowerment.
Okay.
And it's working with young people to help them be successful in their futures and then help them to affect community change. And so, why does it work and how do we do it? Is by really focusing on three major pillars, which is financial empowerment. Everybody needs to understand that to be successful.
Yes.
Secondly, entrepreneurism, which was the foundation of our country and
Yes.
businesses. And then work and career readiness, which we know is a really important focus here in Connecticut.
Of course. Of course.
So those have been the main focuses, and the
Yeah.
way that we do it is we work with kids from kindergarten all the way up to 25-year-olds.
Okay.
We work with schools, we work with community partners, and what never changes is the way the materials that we have are so that the kids can really grasp concepts
Okay.
and then change behaviors. And those are all experiential learning. So we have that. What brings it together is the connection with the community,
Yes.
which we ask businesses, others in the community like yourself, to come in and be role models
Yes.
and deliver this material, and then they share their experiences in their own life's journey. And what happens is we find that over 51% of Junior Achievement alumni have gone into the same careers as their
Oh,
volunteer role models,
that's interesting.
which is really interesting.
That is. That's
Yeah,
that's 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 really interesting.
yeah.
And when you started 18 years ago, did you start as president of the organization
I
or?
started actually, no, that was a great question. I started as a program education manager.
Okay.
So, what my job was to work with schools as partners
Yes.
and then recruit volunteers to come in, just what I said, and
Yes.
deliver the materials. So, that's how I started. And, I realized right away how important this was. I didn't really know a lot about it like you.
Yeah.
And I knew my kids had it. And I remember doing an activity with them where they had to understand they had a career and then they had a budget. And I thought, my goodness, this is so wonderful to
Yes.
understand this.
Yes.
And that's how I started. And then obviously evolved, and I've been here for a really long time.
Have you ever talked to the kids
Yeah.
or saw yourself as a mentor to the kids with your story of kind of starting where you started and moving all the way up to where you are now? Because I feel like that's something that they would want to
Yes.
right hear
Yes.
about.
Yes. Because, it made me realize that I was the first in my family to even go to college.
Oh, okay.
And, I had to pave my own way, if you will,
Yeah.
right? And what I realized is, like I said, when I did the lessons with my kids, how valuable it was. Because
Yes.
I didn't grow up understanding wow, budget, saving, how important that is in building your successful future,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like in order to talk about it and to recruit others, I had
Yes.
to kind of walk the walk.
Of course.
So in doing it, that's where the passion I think really ignited, because you start to see the light bulb go off in
Yes.
kids. Where, from elementary, I remember one story where we were talking about building a business and where would you do it, and they were learning about I forget the word, but where's the right place, right? And so
Yeah.
one of the kids said, raising his hands like crazy, and when I called on him, and he said, my business would be an ice cream shop, and I would build it at the corner of the school because everybody has to pass there.
Yes. Yeah.
And for me, that was inspiring me,
Mhm.
but it enabled me also to have a way to share that our paths aren't just linear.
Yes. Of course. Love it.
It's just inspirational, I think,
Yes.
for the kids.
No, definitely. And we're obviously Tiffany is here with us as well. And you're kind of in the middle. I feel like we're talking over you, so I'm sorry about that. But tell us a little bit about what it is that you do with Junior Achievement.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Tiffany Stewart, and I'm Education Director for Junior Achievement.
Okay.
And so basically, what I do is I help to push forward Junior Achievement's mission,
Okay.
and then add strategy to it. So, like as we think about the mission, we think about how is that mission relevant to our local area? How can we best support? And so that looks different across the country, as Bern alluded to. It's a national organization, a worldwide organization, and so it
Yes.
looks different in each community. And so really learn the heartbeat, if you will, of the community, learn what students need in this community, and learn how to best deliver it so that it's most impactful for our students.
So the curriculum is different depending on where you're at, where you are.
So the curriculum is the same.
Okay.
It's the delivery and
Okay.
the customization of how that curriculum is facilitated.
Yes.
Is the difference.
And is it kind of like ever changing, or right?
Yes, exactly. So like at the national level, the curriculum is like they're always doing research and
Yes.
like staying abreast of like how students learn and concepts and best practices and all of that stuff. So the quality of it is like great. Now what happens on a local level is us saying, okay, like if we have students in, we'll just pick Bridgeport, right? We're in Bridgeport. What does the data say about students in Bridgeport?
Yes.
How do they best learn, and how do we best get this material in front of them, right? So an example of that might be students in Bridgeport really need to see people who come in who look like them so they can identify with and relate with
Yes.
them. And we all know, like on a basic level for anyone, this is how information is best delivered, right? I see you in front of me, you look like me, you sound like me, you speak like me. I've already identified with you in a way that makes me interested in everything that you have to say.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm listening. You have my attention.
So for me, and I think a lot of people may agree with me, and maybe you might agree with me too. For me, I feel like a lot of school and I guess the way that kids are taught in school is kind of a one size fits all, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times that doesn't work for all the kids, right? Because we're not all the same. And so, what would you say that you have found in terms of the different ways that kids learn, right? Because I believe that we all consume information differently, right? And so what you may get from reading a book, I would never get because I don't like to read. I know how to read, right? But I would never that would never be my method to consume information.
Mhm.
And so what have you guys kind of seen in terms of the different ways that kids take in information?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I think, it's true, like everyone learns differently. And not only do we learn differently, but we have preferences, right?
Yes.
So like some people are visual. I'm visual, I want to see.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
everything. If you tell me something, I may or may not be listening. I'm not sure. It depends,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So with that, and the cool part about JA's curriculum is it considers all of that.
Yes.
And what we really, our main point is to really bring experiences alive for students. So we're in the classroom. A part of that is like, okay, we'll have a volunteer, right? There's the digital assets. So people who need to see, they can see that. People who need to have someone in front of them and like learn because the proximity of someone being there and
Yes.
ask questions,
Yes.
there's that.
Yes.
There are the student experiences that support the curriculum, right? So it's not just us coming inside the classroom, but we really try to make it customized for students. Like if students are learning about stocks and investments, right?
Yes.
We invite them to a stock market challenge where they could actually take what they've learned in the classroom and compete against one another, whether it's just their peers or other schools, and really bring that experience alive for them because it's a competition now.
Yes.
Right? And now I have to not only use what I learned in the classroom, but now I'm a part of a team. And like now it's a group effort and we want to win. So we try to do that for all of our experiences, like really make it so. And listen, honestly, if you let kids tell, they know what they want and they know what they like, they know
Hmm.
what they don't like.
Yes.
If you listen,
Yes.
you know what to do.
No, of course. Yeah,
Yes,
listen to what they're saying and what they're
yes,
not saying, right? And how they're
exactly.
acting. No, of course, I get it. Now, Bernadine, you said earlier that you're the best kept secret, right? And I feel like in a way, we don't want to be that, right? We don't want to be the
No.
best. And so, what do you? Can you pinpoint or maybe think of some reasons why you were the best kept secret? And what I mean by that is, why is it that a lot of folks don't know about junior achievement?
That's a great question, and it's actually we ask that question nationally as
Yeah.
well. I think what I would go to. I'm not sure of exactly what I think. When you do find though the people that have worked with us, like as the volunteers or the school partners, they're able to say yes, this is why.
Yeah.
I guess on us, it's probably doing more things like we're doing now,
Yeah.
articulating the work that we do,
Hmm.
the impact that it has, and speaking to more diverse groups in order to engage with us. So
Yeah.
I do think like it's a matter of communications, and I guess it's not a reason, but what I would say is like so many nonprofits, right? The
Yeah.
focus on the work that we do, and we stay really focused on that,
Yes.
and then it's a matter of, oh wait, what are the resources in order to communicate that?
Yes.
So to keep focusing more on that, so that we can share the good work we're doing.
Have you guys have you thought of or are you planning to maybe put together some kind of campaigns or anything that can kind of further communicating that information to the public?
Yes, we've been talking about that for sure, and that's one of our goals this year. And it's that's something that we're working on now.
Yeah.
And some of the work that we're doing, though, like Tiffany said, is sharing that articulation of how we're doing it, which is with the kids. When we talk about, like Tiffany talked about, like the stock market challenge is
Yes.
something that we are doing. That's a real thing.
Yes.
And then getting mentors who come in that have some knowledge and experience in investing, so that they can share with the kids.
Okay.
So things like that, those are part of the campaigns. The campaigns that we're working at, not just in communication, but are in like financial literacy now, is a mandate for the state.
Hmm.
So we look at now, okay, we realize we're a solution provider. So a campaign around how we communicate that, working with schools, speaking to superintendents, speaking to the communities,
Yes.
articulating that we align with the school, the standards
Yes.
of how they present that.
Now, obviously, the programming that Junior Shipment does targets the youth, and that's important. But I think that we could all agree that a lot of times the things that we're teaching these kids, even their own parents don't know or don't understand. And so, Tiffany, is Junior Shipment doing anything to kind of get the family involved in it? And I'm speaking for myself. Like, I don't know if my mom is watching, but like my mom doesn't know a lot about these things, right? And so it gets to a point where now I know more than she does. And so, is Junior Shipment doing anything to kind of get the whole family involved?
I feel like you might have been like a part of a junior achievement focus group, right? So you're like asking all these questions that are so relevant and spot on. Yes. So my answer to that is yes.
Yes.
And what I will say to that is, originally junior achievement was for K through 12.
Okay.
And over the last year or so, what they've done is say, hey, you know what? That's not enough, right? We need to expand our services and our reach to 25. And then what we say is like, even that still is not enough, right? So we do special programs like FinLit Night, Financial Literacy Night, with families, where we have some of our bank or corporate partners come in, teach
Yes.
people about the banking system, right? And not in a way where like, I'm gonna have you sit down for my presentation and then I get to sell you my goods or my
Yeah.
services, not like that.
Of course.
But it's really like, where do these fees come from, right? We all look at our bank. I know I still do. Like, where did that come from? Like, why are they charging me $5 for this or
Yes.
that? But teaching our families with their students, right? The family is sitting down in front of our partners, and they're saying, here's what this comes from. Here's the best type of account for a family of this. This is what it looks like. Here's where the fees come from. Here's where the fees don't show up, but you're still being charged. Like,
Yes.
and explaining all of that to our families. And then the beautiful part is they open up student accounts, right, for our
Yes.
students. And then if they save, they come back to say it will match it up to $500, just to really get people inspired about, having a budget,
Yes.
saving, planning for the future, investing, learning about these different systems, and like knowing how important it is, right? When you talk about lack of knowledge, it often leads to deficits in some way. It
Mhm.
often leads to cycles of poverty. And so like when I'm going into classrooms, when I'm working with our education managers, when I'm sitting down with Bern, I'm always thinking about like generational wealth.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about like how do we break cycles of poverty? Because really it's about that. Of course, we are a great solution provider, right?
Mhm.
But I know for me, being a student, I didn't know about any of this stuff growing up, and it wasn't necessarily that my parents taught me either,
Yeah.
right? But now knowing it is something that is so imperative, not from only for me to apply to my own life, but when I have children, I know like I can break a cycle of poverty in my family
Yes.
because I have information that I can use
Yes.
and change the trajectory of my life and then all the generations that come after it.
No,
And it's
definitely.
important.
No, it's super important. And Bernadine, have you found working with local banks? Have you found that kind of like an easy? I mean, I don't want to throw nobody under
Yeah,
the bus, but
no.
have you found that to be like an easy process?
Yeah, I think what I would say is I think we're really fortunate that
Okay.
we have such great supporters, corporate supporters
Okay.
and the banks, yes.
Good. Good. Good.
Because the financial empowerment, look at the statistic that I look at is that 64% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck,
Mm.
right? In Connecticut, it's reversed, it's 46.
Okay.
So when we look at that, we realize how important that need for financial empowerment is.
Yes.
And like Tiffany said, it's a way out. And that's what we're trying to show is how do we, help in breaking that gap of moving out of a cycle of poverty,
Yes.
advancing economically. So I would say, yes, I'm very grateful on behalf of Junior Achievement for the partnerships we have with the financial institutions. And like Tiffany said, when you look at this is what we do nationally, globally,
Yes.
but then locally, it's really looking at the needs of the communities. And that's why like specific programs, what's important to Bridgeport,
Yes.
what's important to, Shelton, Stratford,
Yes.
Ansonia. So bringing in that family aspect is so critical, like you said,
Yeah.
because a lot of families don't understand why is saving so important.
Mhm.
How can I do it? What is college costing? How
Yeah.
do you make choices like for a kid to go to university, 2-year community college versus trade?
Yeah.
All of it could be all good answers,
Yes.
but it's understanding how to do that. So our partners, to go back to that,
Yeah.
in the banking field have really helped with that and sharing those messages, both in exposure to careers as kids start to understand, hey, what does it look like? What do careers in these fields look like? And then why is this so important?
And you mentioned earlier you talked about entrepreneurship and kind of alluded to what the country was built on, right? When did Junior Achievement start to really focus in more on entrepreneurship?
So,
And I only
yeah.
asked because entrepreneurship is something that when I was growing up, and I'm 39, but when I was growing up, I didn't hear a lot about it.
Yeah.
I'm hearing about it now, the last maybe 10 years,
Mhm.
15 years.
Yeah.
When did Junior Achievement start to kind of focus on it
Yeah,
more?
so that goes back again to the best kept secret
Okay.
because Junior Achievement was founded in 1919.
Okay.
And it started with entrepreneurship was the pillar.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So people, like if you meet some people like that have done it when they were younger. In fact, in Bridgeport, we had
Yes.
several. We called them the company program.
Okay.
And what it was, kids came from different high schools. They came together, worked with a partner, a company partner, and then they had to form a business. And with that business, they had to have a president, a vice president, financial, CFO, marketing. They had to understand how to do that and
Yes.
turn a profit. So it really fostered what entrepreneur, what it was,
Yeah.
it was to start a business. What did you need to be successful? What did it look like if you failed?
Yes.
What was your product? Did you sell it? So that's where it started. And then in the 80s, I believe it was the 80s, JA expanded from that program into the schools
Okay.
to all the way the elementary, all the way up.
Yeah.
And so over the years, we have so many programs now, right?
Yes.
And it's diversified. But that's really what JA started
That's
with.
interesting. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
And you in your first when we first started talking, you used the word inspire a lot. You used it about 3 or 4 times. And it's a word that for me is very important because being a little selfish, talking about me a little bit. When I first started speaking, I would often talk about myself and describe myself as a motivational speaker. Um, and it wasn't until I started doing a little bit of research that I changed that, and I said, no, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm an inspirational speaker, because motivation and inspiration are two different things. Um, but a lot of people kind of use them interchangeably, like they're the same thing, but they're not. And so, is there any specific reason why you use inspiration and not motivation?
Yeah, I think you hit on what it is. I would say so. JA, why is it inspire? Is our purpose? That's inspire and prepare
Yes,
young people to succeed
yes,
in a global economy, right? What does that really mean? That inspire piece
yeah,
is how, because if they're inspired, like I gave you the example of the kid when he raised his hand,
yeah,
that was inspiration for me, is what I saw. He was inspired to get excited about what it would be like to have this business.
yes,
He's never going to forget that,
yeah,
right? Because you don't inspire is something you feel inspired
yes,
by. That's why JA works. Coupled with this experiential, coupled with the role, that's what the role models do.
yes,
They're inspired. Yes, they're gaining skills, they're gaining knowledge, which they have to, but that inspiration is key. And then going back to like what we talked about and how community can come together and help. When Tiffany talked about it's so important to have kids in front of those people in front of the kids who look like them, who
yes,
speak their language. Well, that's inspiration, right? If you go in and tell your story, they're already comfortable because you can speak their language.
hmm,
Now you're able to truly inspire them.
yes,
So that's why I would say, and I think we're all inspired because of the work we do is so important, like entrepreneurship, just what you said,
yes,
financial understanding, financial literacy.
mhm,
That's success for everybody needs
yes,
that. And, understanding about careers and your path could save hundreds of dollars in debt, for
yeah,
kids
of
that
course,
don't know and think the only choice for me is college.
yeah.
Mhm.
No, definitely. And Tiffany, in terms of the mentors that JA is looking to get more of, are you looking for a specific type of, and I mean, I kind of already know the answer, right? But are you looking for a specific type of person in a specific kind of field? Is it kind of open? Like, how do you look for that person, and how do you kind of, I don't know, land on the people that you want to have
Yeah.
mentor the kids?
Yeah. That's a great question. The general answer is like everyone, right?
Yes,
We need
of
everyone.
course.
Um, from all different walks of life
Hmm.
and all different career paths, from all different ethnic backgrounds. Specifically, when we're talking about strategy again, as we even think about Bridgeport, we need more um, people from the Latinx community for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
I can remember being in the classroom, and it wasn't even, I tell this story because it was so, I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
It was like that. But I remember we were starting a program in Bridgeport, and some of the students there speak Portuguese and only the language, right? And I wasn't supposed to be the facilitator of it, but I ended up being the facilitator of this program. And when I got there, what was so powerful, two things that I learned. One, the students translated, the ones who know both languages, translated what I said to their fellow students so they
Yeah.
could understand.
Yes.
And then two, just how strategic we and committed we have to be to making sure that everybody has representation. It was so powerful because even though there was that beautiful learning experience for all of us, because like
Mhm.
now I'm learning stuff, they're learning, and we're going back and forth, and I could tell that they were interested in it. I thought to myself, how powerful would it have been, right?
Yeah.
If we had someone who spoke the language come in and really like get into the nitty gritty of what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
and so in a more powerful way, right? Because there was limitations on
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Of
I don't
course.
know the language, and so from then I'm like, no, we need to, at the basic minimum, foundational, have volunteers who speak the languages, even if they spoke English. You throw in a couple of words,
Yeah.
it's so powerful. Oh, my mom says that,
Yeah.
or you start making connections to
Yeah.
it. So it's that, right? We need volunteers and mentors to come in who look like and who have had shared and lived experiences like the people, the students that we serve.
Yeah.
And then we need volunteers who don't have that, right? So that our students are exposed to, oh, this is how I didn't have that experience. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more about it. right? We need all of that. And our focus this year, our like true focus is making sure we're tapping the community. We want students to be like, oh yeah, Mr. Such and Such, he owns that store on the
Yeah,
corner, right?
of course.
And and he came into my classroom and I learned about how his business runs, and I learned about inventory, and I learned about sales and products and the difference between a product and a service. And maybe one day I want to be an entrepreneur,
Yes.
right? And I
Yeah, of
learned how he
course.
makes money. So we need all of that.
And how can that person, if they're watching or listening, driving the car to work right now, how can they contact JA to become a mentor or to get more information?
Yeah, so our website is
Okay.
www.jagfc.org. And reach out to us. There's a contact form up there. There's, I think, all of our emails. You could literally email anybody listed on that website, and they're going to get you to the right
They're
person.
gonna, yeah,
Yes.
definitely. And Bernadine, before we get off, where else can we find information on JA? Are you guys on social media or?
Yes, we
Yeah.
have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And there is, I'm thinking also worldwide, ja.org,
Okay.
if you want to learn about it, from a national
Of
perspective.
course.
That's always helpful too.
Yes.
But mainly, I would say our website. Anybody can call here as well.
Yes.
The number is 203-382-0180.
Yes.
And, speak to any of us. I know that's a lot has changed like over the years, but that's always a great way to, again, contact
Yeah,
us
if
as
you're
well.
watching this video on YouTube, you can go down to the description and all the information will be there in terms of how to get in contact with them and what it is they're looking for. And if you know someone, maybe it's not you, maybe you don't have time, maybe your plate is full, but maybe you know someone who could be a part and who could come in and mentor some of these kids, please let them know to reach out to JA like yesterday, like ASAP, right? So we can
Yes,
kind of get
totally.
get it going because I think obviously like a lot of us. We have a lot going on, right? But we always know someone who can kind of come in
Yeah.
and do something.
And I think, you saying that brings up an important point, because people are like, well, what am I going to do? How do I do it? We have the materials.
Yes.
We train,
Yes.
we provide orientation and training. So it's not like you go in there and say, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
What the beauty is, you get to share your experiences, just what you talked about before.
Yeah.
And that's the role modeling. So we really make it turnkey. We make it easy. There's opportunities that can be in the classroom. There's opportunities just to be a guest speaker, be on panels.
Oh,
These are
okay.
all different things.
So somebody coming in. I was getting ready to wrap up, but hold on. So somebody coming in to mentor. They're not just coming in and talking. They're coming in. They're being trained almost, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
And there's different capacities.
okay,
For sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk
So,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, like so as Bern said, she you can come in as a guest speaker,
Yes.
right? In any scenario, you're gonna be trained,
Yes.
right? We're gonna prepare you for like, what classroom you're going into, how long you're there for. We'll even give you like tips and tricks that work.
Okay.
Like just different resources in the toolkit so you don't feel like you're just walking in alone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
number one. So it's not like a scary scenario.
No,
Yeah.
we take away the fear.
Yeah.
Right. We try our best. So, there's that. But then there's also you could deliver curriculum weekly, right? So like typically a lot of our curriculum is 5 weeks long. You could say, I'm going to commit 5 weeks to go in for an hour or 45 minutes. You can do
Yes.
it that way. And you're the facilitator of the curriculum. You could also go in on a panel,
Yes.
right? Maybe we're having a panel on, media, and you happen to be on a panel and your students are asking you questions and you're giving your answers to it.
Yes.
Another way is as a guest speaker. Sometimes, we'll have volunteers come in or mentors come in and they're talking about their life story. They're, answering students' questions. They're talking about their industry. They're talking about how they got into the industry, and that is the session.
Yes.
In that capacity. Sometimes, you're coming in as maybe students are doing pitches and you're a guest judge, right? And you're giving students feedback. Maybe it's you're doing interview skills or things to put on your resume or how to dress for an interview. Like there's so many
There's options.
aspects of
There's options.
To
So
engage.
depending on how much time you got, there's no excuse. Just,
Yes.
there's no excuse. Just send an email and find out. Let them know. Hey, I only have 2 hours a month or whatever. What can I do?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then
And you said something so powerful. This might have been off camera, but you said like to give, right?
yes,
Our purpose to give. So it's really about your give back. And
Yes.
like there's no experience that a volunteer that has had that is insignificant.
Mhm. Yes.
Like everybody can think back to a time in their life where someone that they saw, I don't care if they don't even remember what they said,
Mhm.
inspired them or changed their perspective on something.
Yes.
That is that.
Mhm.
Like the give back is that simple.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
The light bulb moment. One other thing I just
Go
thought
ahead.
about volunteer for this stuff. Remember when we go back to the best kept secret
Yes.
and what are our plans? And I was talking like resources and how. Well, one of the things I just thought of it as we're here, if anybody hears this and has skills and like how we communicate, right, to different communities is real important.
Yes.
Having those voices helps us. So if there's anybody who says, yeah, I can help you guys, better communicate, spread the word,
Yeah.
and is interested, like we have committees, like a marketing communications
Yeah.
committee. People don't have to be a board member or a staff. We welcome that from the community to have those voices come and help.
Of course.
Sure.
So that's another way that, if somebody's passionate about it.
Yes, yes, no, definitely. Has been great. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I definitely want to see what I can do. My plate is super full, but I'll definitely see what I can do to come in and help. But for me, it's been a great conversation because I think that this is something that people need to hear because again, we need them, so they need to hear this so they can come in and help. But Tiffany, thank you for your time. Bernadine, thank you so much for your time. I hope that this interview helps to um, hopefully inform more people about what's happening here and turns into at least one or two more volunteers to come in and help. If there's anything I can ever do to help, please reach out to me. Let me know. You and I got some things we have to talk about. We talked about off camera. But this is really good. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you guys super soon.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
so much for
you.
this opportunity.
Of course, of course.
And thank you all. in
Yes.
advance,
Yes,
because
and,
I know.
and if you're watching or listening to the podcast, please go down to the description so you can find information on how to contact Junior Achievement as soon as possible and letting them know how you can help. Thank you so much, you guys, and have a good day.